So welcome to our virtual open day here at the Permaculture Education Institute. This is really a chance for us to share a little bit about what happens here at the Institute, all the different kind of programs that we run, and also for you to have a chance to meet and hear from some of the students who are here with us, and also who have sent in some recordings. So Clinton, you're going to get a chance to see yourself on video screens. Thank you for doing that. It's a beautiful video. I really love it. Thank you for sending that in. And so if you have any questions that you'd like to ask about any of the programs that we offer, there's a few different ways that we can do this, and I'd like to invite you. One would be to pop it in the chat. So the chat's down below. You can open that up and pop questions in the chat, and I will be looking at that probably more towards the end when I can focus on that. But in the meantime, Stacey and maybe Clinton or anyone else can be keeping an eye on that and letting me know if there's any questions that come up, and make sure that we get those answered. The other is simply to either just turn on your mic and ask a question if you feel to do that. Or there's also this other cool feature on Zoom, which is in the reactions down below, where you can raise your hand and it bumps you up to the top corner, and it just becomes really obvious that you're wanting to ask a question. And this is really, I warmly welcome you to ask whatever questions that you have, whether you're a student or not, whether you're trying to find out whether this is something that might be interesting to you, or how you can get involved or find out more resources. So open to anything, and really happy for you either to leave your screens on or off. Like, I know some people are having dinner and just want to kind of have a listen, and that's totally fine too. So however you feel like turning up and showing up today, that's absolutely fine. Thank you for being here. Before I go on, though, I would like to acknowledge that I'm seated here on the land of the Gubbi Gubbi, the unceded lands of the Gubbi Gubbi, and I'd like to pay my respects to their elders, past, present, and emerging. And also would love to invite you to share in, if you are aware of the traditional custodians of the land in which you're seated, to share them in the chat. That would be fantastic. And also, where that might be. So in case anyone doesn't know where that might be, to pop that in the chat as well. So I know we have people from many parts of the world that joined in our session this morning Brisbane time. And I know again today in this session, there are people from around the world too. So it's always fantastic to find out where everyone's calling in from. So what I'm going to do first up is share through a bit of a presentation that I've prepared that give you a bit of an overview of what are the programs, what are the kinds of things that people do, and share some of those little videos that I mentioned earlier. So I'm just going to share my screen. These are open days that I host every quarter, just to give a chance to kind of give an overview of where we're up to, what's new, what's going on, and to be present to answer any questions that anyone has. What we'll cover really is looking at some of the different programs that we've got, from the Educators Program, Incredible Garden, exploring a little bit about PermaYouth, Ethos Foundation. Also let you know about other programs we have, like the podcast, the blog, and also some business programs, and our Permaculture Education Summit coming up. And then a chance to meet some students and ask any questions that you have. So the first program that I wanted to share with you about is our Permaculture Educators Program. And this is a program that I designed to weave together in an integrated program 2 certificates. So we have the Permaculture Design Certificate, which is the standard international program which is accepted around the world, woven together with a Permaculture Teaching Certificate. And I've done this in a way because I am so passionate about encouraging people to become educators in whatever that might look like, whether that be doing one-to-one coaching, whether that be working at schools, or weaving it into your consulting work that you might do, however it might look. Some people are doing it as being like they run a B&B, and so when guests come, part of that is an education. So it can look like lots of different things. Another key part that I was really keen about focusing on with this program too was looking at how you can integrate this into your livelihood. So it's a lifestyle and a livelihood And whether that be a program that you are running separately as an income generation, or whether it's a layer, a lens on something that you're already doing. And so within this program, we have people from 6 continents, hundreds of people from around the world joining in. And that's part of one of the wonderful things about that integration between all those different. I'm just wondering, Stacey or Clinton, you might be able to check on the sound. That's great. Thank you so much. So within that too, as well as being global and having a global learning community, we attempt as much as we possibly can to make this so flexible that it fits around your life, wherever it is, whatever its pace. You can speed up and slow down. You can start anytime, take as long as you need, and even take a break and come back to it. So it's really about trying to design it to fit around where our lives are now. And I'm totally dedicated to this being a blended program, meaning that I know that there's online content, but I really want this to be supporting practical hands-on things that you're doing in your own place, in your own community. So what I really like to make sure is that by the time you finish this course, you've not only started in doing you've created your own design, you've started implementing it, you've actually started teaching, and that it actually supports you in creating things that are locally contextualized, that are actually up and running before you finish the course. And, even after you finish the course, you're totally welcome to stick around, because this is part of being part of this learning community. And so there's many people who are at all stages throughout the course that are here. And so we have online content, live sessions, forums, chats, and I'll talk a bit more about that. So within the course, we have 44 modules. The first bundle are around the permaculture design course. The second part is around the designer certificate. And then there's a few modules at the end that are around the business side of setting up an ethical business. And so within each of those modules, when you open into those, you start to see a whole lot of different content. So there's videos, there's information, there's photos, there's drawings, there's resources and links. I designed them to take around about 2 to 3 hours each to finish. But I know for some of them, people who kind of hook on to something, like I remember one person told me they got to the soil section and they just stayed there for 7 weeks because there was so much in there that they would just wanted to focus on that. Other people who've done a lot about soils before might skip over that bit and then land really and just spend a whole lot of time in design. And so it's up to you to kind of make it as spacious as you want. Each week, a new module becomes open to you, but it's totally up to you how long you decide to take with that. And so you can kind of see here, there's lots of references. I keep adding new references. I also send weekly newsletters out, which means that any new content that I find, or a new conference or a new event or an article, I can send that out with the weekly newsletter. So it's an ever-evolving living system of information. For the first series of classes, we have a whole lot of worksheets, and these worksheets are designed to support you in some goal setting and working out what it is that you're wanting to focus on. Who would you like to be working with? What is going on in your site, in your neighborhood, in your local Indigenous community, and really mapping all of that out. And all of this information builds up to being the basis of creating a brilliant design. So you're focusing on the principles and the ethics and the needs analysis. And so by the time you get to your assignment, these are all non-assessable. These are just part of you preparing. And so when you submit these, you get a copy yourself, and you can keep updating it if you want to. You can keep it in your portfolio. I also get to see a copy, which means that I get the background information. I know where you're going, and I can sort of track that as well. And then there's a whole series of live sessions that are included as part of the program. And some of the key ones that I want to mention just here on this slide were the Design Studio and Education Lab, because these are the ones where people who are working on a design will share that with others. So they'll start to present their design concepts, their plans, their ideas. And so the person who's designing gets a chance to really focus and bring together and finish their work in a presentation form. And it takes a lot of kind of focus to do that. And it's kind of like an end point that helps you to finish. From the flip side, if you're receiving the design, you get a chance to practice being a design teacher, asking really good questions or giving good feedback. So it's always this focus between design and education interplay there, which I really love. And then when you get into the education lab, it's exploring what are the different types of education programs you can run, sharing the kinds of timetables that you set up and the handouts and the methodology and all of that. I'll talk a bit about some of these other things in a minute. We've set up a booking system so that you can pick whatever live session you want to join. They're all optional and you can come or not come. And if you want to come, there's a ticket system which then sends you reminders. You pop it in your calendar. It's all automated like that. If you just want to get a replay later, that's absolutely fine too. So, and then Stacey, who's here, will be sending out lots of reminders in our discussion groups and things, and you'll see little notices come up like this. So there's lots of reminders trying to catch everyone all the time to bring you into these live sessions. Now, in the design side of things, there are so many different ways that people approach their design. Some people choose to do hand-drawn designs. Other people choose to do, computer-based designs. It's really up to what you want to do, and we'll try and support you in that process of doing it. But what we give you is the basis of what you need to include, how to go through the design, getting to this point of actually mapping out what you want on your site. And so part of that is starting with a site analysis, getting to know what's on your site. So we go through step by step, looking at how to get a base plan, how to get your contours. What does that even mean? How to map that all out? Looking at where the sun is going on your site and where the winds are coming from. Because once we start to understand this, we get to know, like by the time you gather this, you get to know sort of really what the design needs to do. It helps you to make sense of it all. And so the design studios are also a really great way to find out how other people have been approaching it. Every single person approaches it differently. And I love to share this particular example from Yul in Korea, because what she did is she went into sort of a historical look at what were the ways that people in Korea used to farm and what were some other traditional practices of forest gardening that related to it. And then she was looking at ways to bring that in. And her form of communication was through these illustrations, and you'll see where she took that soon. It's really amazing. And then in the education lab, just click on to the next one. I apologize about these pictures, that quality is not so good. But so this is Christine, and what she did was she presented her urban permaculture design principles workshop. And so when we listen to her, for example, we get to hear about how she planned it, what her curriculum is, her handouts, and she shared that with all of us. So if you're here in the course, you get to get all of this background information from everyone. It's not just people submitting their assessments to me. People share their assessments with everyone. And so you get to have this. You don't have to. You can just share it with me if you want to, if you're feeling shy about it. I just want to put that in there. But I love it when people do share it with everyone, because it's this, then it becomes this kind of global learning community where we all are seeing different things and learning from each other. And we record those and then pop them up into this archive. And so you'll be able to see the design studios, the education labs, any of the sessions that we have live will be recorded. So if you miss them, don't worry, we'll pop them in there. And we do try and swap them from time zone to time zone. So sometimes one will be in the morning, sometimes the next time will be in in the evening. And so that keeps moving around like that. So that's all there. I'm going to share a little clip now from a couple of people. So the first one is Clinton, who's here with a big beamy smile there. And he's going to be, he sent in a beautiful little clip about his reflection on the course. And then we'll have Kate from England. So let me just get that up. Here we go. This is Clinton.
Hi there. My name's Clinton Ross, and I'm a current student of the Permaculture Education Institute. Ever since I've joined, I've felt an incredible sense of upliftment, and I feel like I can make meaningful changes, even though I'm only halfway through my permaculture design certificate at the moment. But even through my participation in the regular pollination sessions and presenting at a permaculture session that I ran on something for soaping and permaculture, I feel like I can do it. I feel supported at every single step of the way. The WhatsApp group is a wonderful, supportive group of people from all across the world and all walks of life. So it doesn't matter if you're just dipping in and out occasionally or you're in there quite regularly. You get to see wonderful permaculture projects, and in particular, some of them that are happening in the refugee camps in Uganda. Seeing meaningful change in the world through permaculture just makes me feel oh so wonderful and makes me proud to be a Permaculture Education Institute student. Any advice that I would give for someone who is thinking about it or as a beginning student is just get in there and chat with everyone. It doesn't matter if you're started or you're already heaps way down the track in your courses. You're going to feel like you belong and that people are really excited for what you're doing, even if it's just your base plan or your kitchen zone garden. Everyone is a great uplifter and you just want to do more of the same. So I'm kind of paying it forward in that way as well. So I would tell you to give it a go, and I'll see you in the chats.
Hi everybody, it's Kate here. I am studying on Morag's course for my PDC and PTC. It's just really a little video about why I signed up for the course and how much I love it, and really just to recommend to all you guys, if you're thinking about doing it, just go ahead and do it. It just really opens up a whole new world to you. As you work through the modules, you just learn more and more, and you feel more and more confident about what you're actually doing on your own plot, and also just chatting to other people and kind of sharing that experience and knowledge. Everyone is so friendly. We've got a really lovely WhatsApp group and a Facebook page, and we share lots of stuff. It just feels like you found your nature tribe. That's what it felt like to me. Just the knowledge that Morag shares with us and the encouragement she gives us, just literally from, I think it is from modules 3 to 5, where your mind will be blown and you will not be able to look back. All the doors will be opening to you, and you just need to step through, and you'll love every minute. So just go ahead and sign up.
Oh, thanks, Clinton and Kate. It's just so lovely to hear. You know, one of the great things about running this program is that every day I get beautiful messages and I get to see amazing projects and programs. And as much as possible, try and keep sharing that. And like both Clinton and Kate said, mostly people are sharing it in the Facebook group or the WhatsApp group, which means that everyone gets to hear all this news. And it's like Clinton said, it's really uplifting. It kind of helps you to start your day in a really great way. You open up and go, oh my gosh, look at what they're doing there. That's fantastic. So yes, I totally agree, Clinton. That's absolutely right. One of the things that Stacey actually initiated as in part of our program, she suggested, why don't we have a film club? I went, wow, great idea. So we started having sessions where we would have just, small films within the group. And now it's grown to this new release films that are coming out and inviting anyone who wants to join into these programs. So this month, I wanted to let you know that we actually have a new film called Planet Local, A Quiet Revolution, which is made by Helena Norberg Hodge, this woman with me here, and this will be screened on June 22nd. So anyone's in the email, I'll send you an email after this with all the links to all these things. So it's free and it's open and accessible, and every month we have a film club. And these help to enrich what we're doing within the course. It's also a really great way to think, oh, how can I use film? And what films can I use in my teaching? So it's really also part of this, like everything has a value of learning, but also thinking about teaching at the same time. So the other thing that I do too is whenever I find an interesting conference, or if I'm doing a talk somewhere else, I'll always make sure that I let everyone know that that's available. And sometimes it might not be of interest, other times it might. I also find courses that are related and see if I can get some discounts for you. So there might be a course that'll take you on a deeper dive of soils, for example, or a deeper dive into systems thinking. And whatever it might be, we can bring that back in, and that way you can enhance what you're doing and take a diversion and then come back to this course with a new perspective and share that into the group too. And so I mentioned before that there were assessments, and you can take your time with these. You can spread them out as much as you want, or sort of put them all in one big bundle. But basically the point of these assessments is not to make you do projects for project's sakes, or, you know, like a school assessment that my son is complaining about at the moment. This is about doing something which is actually helping you to create your own design and also to start teaching. Like I said before you finish, you're designed your place, whether it's your place or a community garden, a school garden, a friend's garden, whatever it might be. And so you go through that process step by step of doing the site analysis, the kitchen garden design, which is like a small scale design. If you've never designed before, just start small. And then we go to the whole site design. And when you finish that, you're actually then like certified to be a permaculture design consultant. And I encourage you to spend time practicing a whole lot more before you sort of go out and, you know, peg your stake in, like say, oh, okay, I'm available. Like practice a whole lot. And that's why it's good to be part of this community, to keep sharing and getting ideas as well. I think this learning community is a key part of becoming brilliant designers and brilliant teachers. So that's the first 3 assessments, and the final 3 are part of the teachers program. So it's really about designing your education program, and that could be like the whole point of this is for you to work out who you want to design a workshop for, what are the needs of your local community. So really mapping that out, where and how you're going to do it, then actually going out and leading that educational program, and then reflecting and reviewing and adapting and changing that. And so that is the process, because this learning cycle of how to become an excellent teacher, like there's never just one thing that you map out and off you go. It's like it's a constant learning. Like every time I do a class, I'm always thinking through this process. So within it, I'm trying to share you as much as of the process that I use in doing the teaching. Oops, I went the wrong way. Sorry about that. Here we go. So it's due date free. There's no time when you're expected to put anything in. When you're ready, pop it in, and then we'll work on assessing that and getting you feedback. In terms of the student work, I just wanted to share with you some examples. Most people work individually, but sometimes we have groups that join us. And this was one group from Happy Farm in Thich Nhat Hanh's village in France. And they together filled their whole common room full of all their brainstorming and their site plans. And they just kind of lived amongst their design project for a while and actually redeveloped the farm within this community, the Thich Nhat Hanh community. So some people use their like lots of pens and paper all over the wall. Some people use lots of sticky notes. Other people get on and do mood boards on their Pinterest and collect a whole lot of things and then share that. So, you can then go, oh, that's a great idea. I really like what Clinton's got there, and grab that and pin it on your own board. And so, I think this is a really lovely way. It doesn't matter whether it's digital or pen and paper or a combination of both. It's all good. And then people start to do lots of working drawings. And so we do things like base plans. We get into looking at like what are the flows and nodes and start to get the broad pattern. One of the key principles of permaculture is moving from pattern to detail. So we don't start working out a veggie garden first. We get the pattern of the whole site and then move our way forward and just start to notice what's going on. Start being in that state of observation of our site, of where the sun is and where the views are and which bits do we like, which bits do we need to shift and change, where do the kangaroos hop, we start to notice what is going on and really start to map that and be present in that space and create base plans from that. My background is in landscape architecture, so I share a few tips and tricks about how to create base plans, and I encourage people to get out their pen and paper. There's something really nice in design about actually using like pen and paper. There's like neurologically something about doing design by hand. But if you like to do it digitally, that's also fine. But either way is good. And then we build up overlays. So we put on things over the top. So we start to get a sense of what's going on in the land. And from there, people take it in all different directions. And this is Adam's design. He's an architect, and you can kind of tell by his style of drawing. And this is the sort of work that comes out at the end of this design process. So he's designed his own place as a permaculture design, and he's used this as an example for him to work out how we can integrate permaculture into his architectural practice. And I have a little clip from him in a minute, but you can see too, we do like little side views. We make sure that we have things like scales and north and annotations, and this is all stuff that we help you. And you don't have to draw a plan like this. This is an architect's plan with 25 years experience. But we do teach you the tips and the tricks to how to communicate your design plans effectively. So this is Adam. So sit back and relax. He has a little bit of a chat about how he's integrated permaculture into his architectural work.
Hi there. I'm Adam Russell, partner at Saltbush with Susie Pickles. There's only so much Green Star building, carbon offsetting, Tesla driving you can do in our economy of add-ons before you start to realise and maybe question that perhaps it's the economy itself that really needs to be rethought from the ground up. I had a bit of an epiphany in my career as an architect, my career of 25 years, where I realised I was going in circles. And permaculture really helped ground me and earth me and give me a sense that I could change the way I practice and use that as a means of helping other people change the way they live their lives for the better. Armed with this new insight, I realised I wanted to shift my practice from designing buildings and thinking through the built environment to designing living environments. Designing environments that, in a way, gave people opportunities to reconnect with natural flows and processes and shift their ways to be more regenerative. We established our place here in the Illawarra through permaculture principles, and whilst we were busy gardening, establishing water and energy systems, I was also studying permaculture design certificate and educator certificate. It was awesome doing both the practical work and the theory at the same time. And so much of what I learned getting my hands dirty was then reflected in what I learned doing the course itself. I took it quite slow doing the course, spending over a year whilst I was busy with many other things. But I found that was good because it gave it a chance to sink in and get my head around things. And I often went back to earlier modules to restudy them and get a different perspective on them. I graduated in September 2021 and have been integrating permaculture principles in the work I do in various ways since. The ethics and principles of permaculture are really flexible and can be applied to many different livelihoods. Some permaculturalists use and practice these principles very explicitly, and others, like myself, use the flexibility and universality of the principles to underpin their practice in other disciplines more implicitly. They've sort of formed the bedrock of what I do as an architect. An example of how I've used what I've learned in the course in practice is through assessment 4 of the educators program, where I had to deliver an education moment, and the university had asked me to deliver a course called Sustainability, which I renamed Regenerative Design for Architects, and structured it through permaculture principles, weaving architectural knowledge and permaculture knowledge together. It went really well, and I think it gave students a very different angle on what they saw their task, their future task as a practicing architect might be. Our practice is called Saltbush, You can find us at saltbushprojects.com. We practice in food, design, art and architecture, always with purpose, and our practice is always evolving. We've got a few other projects in the pipeline for next year, so watch this space. Thanks and see you later.
I really love hearing stories about how people integrate it and how it becomes an implicit thing in some people's work. And there's a comment in there about from Sharon about, oh, I can't draw. And some people come to this course as architects, and yes, they can draw. There's other people who haven't picked up crayons since they were in primary school and still they say, I've had so much fun because I haven't done this kind of thing for ages. And this was one of those people who hadn't drawn for a long time. And so, she got in and she was drawing with pen and some, borrowed her kids' color pencils and just really did a great job at it. So you do what you can. No one is ever going to be assessed on their drawing capability. It's about the ideas, the connections, the threads, the design thinking that's within it. So this is one of the presentations that was done by a woman who took on her design process in her backyard and then ran an education program to share that with people in her neighbourhood, and then presented that as part of her teacher's certificate course. And so that was what she did. Her goal is to teach other people how to transform their backyards in the area that she lives in. And so that's perfect. So it really is so different. And then this is the kind of what happened at the end of that sort of multiple bits of paper all over the wall. They came together and there was an artist amongst the group, and they represented their design through her quite interesting artwork. It was beautiful. You should have seen the whole presentation was just full of these beautiful little drawings. And these now are being implemented in this farm. Then there's other people like Joanne, who really in her final design went right into detail, and the richness in her design is in all of the specifics that she provided for all the plants, and then mapped out her whole food forest. And that was amazing. And I'm sharing this too from the same woman. This is Joanne again, who loved to get out in her garden drawing what she was noticing. And she started a nature journal and then began a blog about that, which then becomes an education source in and of itself. And through that, she's now doing a program with the Ashoka Foundation called the Art of Change Making, and weaving permaculture and leadership through the Ashoka Foundation in the Philippines. So that's really exciting. And this is, again, Yule's work, who I mentioned earlier from Korea. And she was working with a team of people to create a series of illustrations for children's books, when she was also already working on her own book, which is now just being published. This is the book. She sent me a picture of it just the other day, and I'm waiting for a copy to come. And so this is a children's book. She wants to write a series of books around traditional practices and permaculture through this illustration, her beautiful illustrations that she has. So that's really exciting. And these communities of practice that form. The next speaker that I've included in here is going to tell you a little bit about that. Now, I just wanted to apologize ahead of time because Ange's video has a few clicks through it. I think it's something to do with the way she's holding her phone. But please just bear with that as it goes through, because she really shares some really interesting points. So this is Ange, who's currently living in Portugal.
Hello, my name is Ange. That's my puppy Mila in the background. I am German American, currently living in Portugal, in southern Portugal. And yes, I signed up for the educator course about 9 months ago. And it's been a really wonderful journey, just solidifying my work and my passion in this field. I took my permaculture design courses in Oregon, and then I worked at a Montessori school, teaching children age 3 to 12 what I was learning in the courses, as I had a on-site permaculture garden, a little edible school garden. And then, I just realized that I really wanted to enhance my skills and my practice of permaculture with my students. So I decided to take the course, and I'm super glad that I did. I've really learned a lot, and also I've really met some incredible people through the course as well. I ended up presenting what I had done in the school in Oregon with the school garden, and that resulted in me creating a children's permaculture group for the students of this course. So it was like an offshoot little group, and together we've created a children's book for all around soil, and then we're in the process of finishing that up and getting the illustrations going. There's been a lot of really wonderful collaboration from all around the world. It's really impressive to see. And yeah, the course has been really wonderful because I ended up creating a children's camp program because of the training course, and I ended up teaching in Hungary for a week. I did a week-long permaculture camp at a alternative green school in Hungary, and then I've been offering kids camps here in Portugal. I'll be doing week-long camps in Germany. So yeah, it's been a really wonderful journey, just diving deeper into my passion and what I call my purpose. And so for anybody that's interested in taking the teacher training or isn't sure, I highly recommend it. And Morag is a really supportive, very, very present teacher. I'm very impressed with her. And there's so many aspects of the course as well. There's so many different Zooms and different guest speakers from around the world. And there's so many little offshoot groups, and the community is so supportive if you create your design project, if you have questions. And then there's an active Facebook group and an active WhatsApp group. And yeah, I've gained a lot from the course, and it's really wonderful to have a connection with other permaculturists around the world. And hopefully in the near future I can maybe collaborate with a few other fellow students through my children's camps. So yeah, I look forward to working with people more closely, maybe even in person. All right, so thank you.
So that was Ange sharing about what she's done. And I think what I really liked about what she was saying is that she'd already done a PDC, but she then wove this in and started to create her programs through that, and also creating all these different communities of practice. Another type of work that's really flourishing through this, and I think Bemariki is here in the group. I just checked, and Jacqueline, there's a few of you who are involved in this. Danny, a number of you are here. That's wonderful to see you all here. So this is a YouTube channel that is created by Bemariki, who's this man here in the purple shirt. And he's been focusing on, he started this course a while ago now, and by the time he got to sort of week 5, he was already starting to teach other people and really began doing Perma youth programs, and then has worked into doing courses with orphans and courses all around, up and down the country and into other places to teach permaculture courses. So he's been making films about this, which I'll share the link to, because he's got some fantastic films here about lots of little tips and tricks about doing things, which then get shared amongst the community. So this idea of using the culture of permaculture, film and music and art, is a really important part of sharing. It's about the gardening, it's about the design, it's about the teaching, but it's also about it becoming this whole systems way and thinking differently about what permaculture education actually means, and really trying to engage other people in becoming leaders, not going out and trying to sort of just share it out onto other people, but to bring people in and engage and excite them in the process. So Bemriki's been running programs with women's groups and farmers groups and with children's groups. And so there's this really vast movement that he's really starting to activate over in the refugee settlements in East Africa. And this is a core part of the kind of work that we do here at the Permaculture Education Institute. Anyone from any of those camps is welcome to join this course. And we have a really wonderful relationship going between all of the students. And part of that too, as I mentioned, is music. This is Somali. Part of what he did was he started to share his music into Perma Youth programs. And he got attention so much so that we were able to find support for him to build a mud brick, solar-powered, water collecting music studio so that he can then gather all these different young people together to make music about permaculture, but about other things as well. And I've shared his songs before. So I'm going to share a song from another student who is Alison here, who's Brisbane-based. And one of the tasks that we set throughout the course was share in 3 to 5 minutes, what is permaculture? Because, people always ask you, what is permaculture? And, it's like, it can mean so many different things from whatever direction you are. So she's a professional musician, a professional cellist, actually, and she plays in the theatre. So if you go to one of the theatres in Brisbane, she'll be down in the pit playing her cello. And she created this piece with her family. So I just wanted to play you Alison's song describing what is permaculture.
The polar ice caps are melting and the bushfires are raging and the oceans, they are rising and the wildlife's disappearing. I know it sounds kinda dreary, can make you feel kinda weary, but people are good and kind and clever, and we can fix this mess together. We can reduce, reuse, recycle, repair, but it doesn't just stop there. Rethink our ways, rebuild the soil, regenerate the land. And while the world, we plant the tree, replace coal and gas, reimagine and redesign our lives so we can reconnect with nature. It's all about the way we live, the choices we make and actions we take. We can simplify and slow things down, grow our food right here in the town. So many people in just one place, we could have less stuff and make less waste. Make some compost, plant some fruit trees, grow some flowers for the birds and the bees. We can reduce, reuse, recycle, repair, but it doesn't just stop there. Rethink our ways, rebuild the soil, regenerate the land. Rewild the world, replant the trees, replace coal and gas, reimagine and redesign our lives so we can reconnect with nature. Chickens and the worms eat the scraps that we toss, pumpkin vines growing out of the compost. Lawn looks fine, but it's hot in the sun. An edible jungle is way more fun. It all comes down to earth care and people care and fair share. The solutions are all out there. Permaculture's everywhere.
I really love that song, and I think she's just done such a beautiful job at explaining what is permaculture through that and what is a permaculture life. And what she's done too is to, since she's made this song, she's decided that what she's going to focus on is creating musicals, permaculture musicals to take to schools. And that's what she's working on. She's writing up all the the sort of the scripts and the music, and her husband and another musical partner are going out, and that's what they're focused on. So, you know, that's her passion, music. So she's woven that through to use that as her education. You know, music may not be your thing. It might be herbs, it might be design, it might be something else. And so it's about finding that. So a number of people have mentioned about the community side. So we do have a Facebook and WhatsApp and local groups and all of these different things that help to connect people. We also have regular live Zoom sessions, kind of like this, where there's different things happen. Some of them are pollination sessions. It's cross-pollinating different people's ideas. The Kacha that Clinton talked about before, which is about sharing short, sharp presentations. It's 20 slides in how many minutes? 20 seconds per slide. So it's like 400 seconds or something, and you get a great idea across. And then in the Facebook and WhatsApp, so for example, if you get to module 7 on food for us and you think, oh, I'd really like to get a bit more information about this, you can dive into the Facebook module where there is everyone's comments of what they've been doing. Could be their pictures, their designs, some videos they've taken around, their questions. You can ask your questions in there. So the Facebook group is not just this great big stream, it's actually organized into modules. So there's like a forum. The WhatsApp group is also a place that you can ask questions really quickly and share things. And it is more like a stream. It's just like a constant Q&A and celebration of things. So that's there if you want to. You don't have to, but it's there if it's helpful. And then there's also the monthly masterclasses that we offer. And these are something that you can come along to, whether you're part of a program or not. The ideas stem out of what the group is focusing on, what questions are coming up, and I'll start to prepare a presentation around that. We do have an archive of all of these that you can dive into. So we're up to number 42 this month. So there's all of those presentations you can dive back into. We also have the course. It's the course that's this one here with all the modules. You can see these are the 9 modules that are part of this practical introductory course. So if you're not really wanting to get into like the design course and the teacher's course yet, you can start here. This is an introduction to permaculture course, and it's a self-paced online course, again, with the whole idea of about it being spacious and practical too. So that's that there. Then there's a course that's coming up later this year, and it, for want of a better term, I just call it Morag Unplugged. How do you run a permaculture business based on the ethics of permaculture and make it work? And so this is what this course is about. It's a group mentoring program of a period of 7 weeks, and then ongoing conversations after that, where we really dive into how to make that work. Because I totally believe that making permaculture more than just a hobby is such an important thing, not only to create possibilities for us as livelihoods, but the planet really needs this at the moment. It needs more people doing this kind of work. So I'm creating a whole lot of different short modules at the moment that are related to this kind of business of permaculture. We're about to offer in the next few weeks a course on marketing for permaculture. There's one on social media for permaculture. There's another one coming up soon about how to do public relations for permaculture. So again, it's another aspect of the work. We've got the design, we've got the education, we've got the business, we've got the community collaboration, bringing in experts from outside. It's just really an ever-emerging sphere of inquiry. It's following our curiosity. So it was International Permaculture Day last month, and we hosted a series of conversations, a series of panels, and then a pollination session. This month it is World Localization Day, and we're celebrating the whole month with Helena Norberg Hodge and the Local Futures, exploring big picture activism, localization, looking at local economics questions. And then coming up in the next couple of months, we're also creating a permaculture education summit. So bringing together some of the key leaders in education, in permaculture and related fields together to explore different ways of doing this, and just more inspiration and more opportunities to talk to people who are doing this and find out how you can do it as well. And then, as I mentioned before, we have the Permaculture Education Charity. So this is the Ethos Foundation. It's actually a registered charity in Australia that is associated with the Permaculture Education Institute. We donate a lot of our time and funds into this foundation, but we also have many of the students who are part of this program and the permaculture community donating into it as well. And we send 100% across to support people like Bemariki and Roland, this is Roland, Jacqueline, a number of different hubs that have started to create free permaculture education for people, resources for creating community farms, creating children's programs, all different manner of things. So if you were interested in that, there's a lot of possibilities for connecting in. I've just been on a call just before I met with you all here now with one of the students who's helping to do up some writing of the stories about what's going on here, so we can share them on our social media and on our website to actually get further funding for this. And part of this program too is about connecting with the Perma Youth, and the Global Perma Youth actually started out of the Permaculture Educators Program, and I'm so proud of them because this group of young people who were doing this course, and I offer young people full scholarships to this course too, and I was asking them, so how are you going? And they said, yeah, it's good, but I'd really love to meet all the other young people doing it. So we brought them together and then invited anyone else who was young and into permaculture to come and join. And that's how it got started. And this group have created relationships with the programs over in East Africa, around the world, met up with people like Costa Georgiadis, David Holmgren, Rosemary Morrow, Hannah Maloney here, meeting with and doing podcasts and radio shows. And they've actually, I've gone too far. They've won a whole series of awards. This is one of the songs that Bemariki's group has created.
Leo najivunia Permaculture ni number 1 tena 100 kwa 100. Ulitupa shule bure, majifunzo bora, mahitaji so mchezo vyote tumetimiza. Ndani ya vijiji vyetu twajiweza. Permaculture wewe umeleta mwangaza. Mboga zote ninazomie, njoni sokoni niwauzie. Maisha leo ni teke easy. Kila kitu ni teke. Hakuna shida, njoni tucheze tucheke. Tomato ngongo, leteni pesa tuweke. Tumeweza maisha sababu ya funzo ya Permaculture. Who's the brother way how you can get money? Permaculture. We are making business of vegetable because Permaculture. Who's the show us how we can change our world to become greenest? Permaculture. Umugabano w'igira y'ibuzarapfa. Permaculture waratugize twibura twari gupfa. Let me sing yalalo, let me say yalalo. Mukuriye ingofero. Permaculture we say thank you. Permaculture you are our mother. Permaculture you are our father. Permaculture you give the way you change my life. Pressure, celebration. Permaculture you appreciate you. You have brought the light in our community. Dans les cas dangereux, tu étais près de nous. C'est Permaculture qui nous montre les chemins du futur. Permaculture c'est comme une montagne. Venez tous et restons debout. Nous étions déçus, maintenant il y a l'espoir. Nous disons merci, merci Permaculture pour nous montrer l'amour et pour nous donner l'espoir de demain. Merci Permaculture. Permaculture, 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 mafanikio. Permaculture, 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 mafanikio. Merci beaucoup Moragambo. Monsieur Bemeriki Bisimwa. Mafanikio. Merci beaucoup.
What I love about these songs is that they're speaking in so many different languages and able to communicate the ideas of permaculture to lots of different groups who are living within these camps. And what I've noticed too in a number of the different filming that they're doing, when you see sort of the back shots, there's a whole lot of people gathered around going, what's going on? What's going on? And so it creates this sense of activity around permaculture and attracts and invites people in to be part of this. It's like something, like you said right at the start, Clinton, an uplifting thing. And so when you start to do this kind of work, it shifts and changes from being about survival food growing into like something new and a possibility and something to move forward. So there's so many different songs that they're creating in all the different camps, and this is an important part of the program. And because of all this work that's been going on throughout the world with the youth, part of this, and I'm really proud of them, as I said before, they've won the Lush Spring Prize, the Hilda Jackson Award, the Permaculture Magazine Prize for their work. And I'm really proud to be also hosting this year the Youth in Permaculture Prize, which is closing tomorrow. So if there's anyone in this group now who wants to apply for it, if you're 25 years or younger, I have £10,000 to actually offer to groups anywhere around the world that are youth-led permaculture programs. And I'm collaborating with all these groups. So let me know if you want that information. We also run an Ethos Youth Fellowship program, which is an extension of PermaYouth, and it's taking a connection with young people who are wanting to do more leadership program, more philosophy, science, expanding. Like, it's kind of a university without walls. So I'm connecting young people in with leading ecological thinkers of our time, people like Fritjof Capra, Nora Bateson, David Holmgren, Rosemary Morrow. And so we get to connect youth with the elders of our movement and to create their own educational program. Also, what I do too is then every week make a podcast with someone who's talking about permaculture from a different angle. And so all of this too is aimed to actually enrich our understanding of what is permaculture, how can it be applied in so many different ways. You may have come across some of the videos, but this is always a constant resource that's available to you. Morag Gamble, Our Permaculture Life, there's hundreds of videos in there, from short little snips about plants and herbs and how to do gardening to the masterclasses. And so you dive into that and see what you can find in there. You can search and see what there is. There's also the blog, ourpermaculturelife.com, which has, again, hundreds of different articles about all different kinds of things in there. There was a question about whether this is a paid course. So the main course that I've been talking about, the Permaculture Educators Program, is a paid course. And so it's almost $3,000 for the whole thing, which is a lifetime access to it with all of the things that I've been talking about. There are payment plans as well for that. On the sales page where you go to check out, you can pick either 3 months or 6 months, or if you want 10 months, I can organize that for you. We are, as I've mentioned, also totally open to this concept of fair share. We have the permaculture ethics of earth care, people care, fair share. So we offer, as I mentioned, scholarships to people in the global south, people who are in refugee settlements, youth. So if you would like to apply for a scholarship, then all you need to do is email me and I will send you out an application form. You can find out a whole lot about all the different programs that we run here on our main website, which is the Permaculture Education Institute. Last thing that I wanted to mention to you is that we are changing things around a bit. Up until the end of this month is the last time where I'm actually offering this dual certificate as a lifetime thing. From now onwards, you can still sign into it. We are splitting up the course because what people are also saying to me is like, oh, I've done a PDC before, a permaculture design course. I just want to do the teacher's bit and I haven't been able to before, or they just want to do the design bit. So I'm separating it out. So as of the second half of this year, you will also be able to just dive into half of it. I still really love the idea of doing it all together, but I know some people just want half and half. So that's going to be available. But what I'm really excited about too is the ideas of creating these designers guilds and permaculture educators guild, like a hive of people who are focused particularly on that. So we're inviting people who have done courses before, people doing our courses, to come and join these global conversation community. So keep an eye out for that. That's all, that information's coming really soon. So again, that website for all of the information is permacultureeducationinstitute.org. And I'd really like to open up now if you have any questions. Enjoy your evening or morning or wherever you are in the world. It's lovely to see you all. Thank you so much for taking the time to come and join us here. It's just wonderful to see all of you here. And thank you again. Take care and talk to you all soon. Bye.